I'm glad you said that before we started the stream. Very glad you said that
That's
before we
why I
started
said
the
it
stream.
now.
That wouldn't even be close to the wildest thing that's been on this
That's
stream.
valid. That is valid. But if you nerds, virgins, and bums are ready, we can dive into the recap.
I'm neither of those things, but let's get it.
Shut up. I said
I,
3.
I resonate with at least one of those.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you which, but
I can guess. But, anyways, so last we left off, you had all began traveling from the city of Phafos, which was once Edhelen, city in the mountaintops, traveling along the Tiave Road towards the city of Weha. You find yourselves back inside the city for the first time. Some of you excitedly go off into the city and begin exploring, while the rest of you wait for the arrival upon your friend Myrrh, which you've seen has escalated to the position of Ma'u Said, which is the head of the military and security of the city. While Myrrh was giving Vulgrim, Gandalf, and Aloy a tour of the library, you all met a particular halfling woman named Tansy Meadowbrook, which took quite a fond liking to you all, particularly maybe one astute rock gnome, before Myrrh was pulled away by a ruckus being started in the streets, where Brianna Farts had defeated the reigning arm wrestling champion of the Red Lady Tavern. His name was Sir Lucas the Tall, and a wrestling match had formed in the streets where people were kind of lined up in a circular fashion, watching Miranda. Why did I say Miranda? Excuse me. Watching Arya just pile drive this human into the ground, pick him up and start suplexing him and doing Batista bombs and just making a whole WWE type of spectacle into it before the ways parted and the sight of a single Earth Genasi caused the entire little uprising to quell itself very quickly, as Myrrh, with such high stature in the city and high status, was able to get everybody to just calm down and go back to their business within a matter of seconds, where she leaded you to the rest of the party. You guys finished off the evening by going to, I believe, a brothel. Some of you wanted to go to a brothel, which was known as the Genie's Lamp, while a couple of you doubled back to the library, particularly Vulgrim and Gandalf. Brienne and Arya were out by the Oasis pool in the front of the city gates, where Myrrh joined you all for a couple of hours, drinking, reminiscing about the glory days of traveling with you all before she parted back to her own home. And we're going to pick up the session at the dawn of the next morning. All of you are waking up feeling nice and refreshed. For most of you, this is your first time sleeping indoors since you all had left the city of Phafos. And now you feel nice and rejuvenated. Some of you, particularly 2 of you, I don't believe were in the library when we left off. So might not have gotten much sleep depending on what you all did. So we'll start with Vulgrim. What would you like to do at the first light in the library? You kind of woken up startlingly by the sounds of keys being to open up the doors, and just the sound of shoes walking around, taking count of all the books, just doing a glance-y observation of all the rooms and everything, seeing if everything's in line.
I'm gonna peek my head out of the room that I was in and say, Tansy, is that you?
You see a kind of a sandy-colored tabaxi man kind of turn around. He's wearing kind of like a overcoat and some trousers and a little vest underneath with like a white shirt, vest, and like an overcoat on top. No, sir. Tansy is not here at the moment. She doesn't come in for a couple more hours. I normally am the one who opens. I suppose I am second in command here. My name is Lotharius. What's Lotharius Cat Scratcher? Sure, why not? We'll go with that.
I look at him and say, "Brother, ew. I was looking for Tansy, but it's okay. It's okay." And then I just sit back down and go over some spells. I'm looking at spell scrolls and things of that nature.
All right. Is there anything particular you're looking for in your scrolls, or?
No, just taking inventory of what I got and just thinking about what could be useful.
Understandably so. Gandalf, is there anything you would like to do in waking up from in the library, hearing the conversation a little bit down the way? You're not in the very next study room, but you're in like one of the ones further down. Is there anything you would like to do upon hearing a conversation spring up a little bit outside of the room?
I'm going to continue studying, but I'm also going to cast Arcane Eye.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that. What does that do?
But it's basically just like a little eye that can float around and hear and see. So I'm listening, but like I'm not moving.
Is it visible?
Oh, no question. I'll let you know in a second.
I can look it up as well.
Just because I'm a head ass, how does the eye hear?
I was thinking the same thing, but it's magic, so who might argue?
The motherfucker floating, so I stopped asking questions at that point.
Good point.
It says invisible.
Ah, love that.
You create an invisible magical eye within range that hovers in the air for the duration. It is a range of 30 feet.
Boom. So yeah, I'm gonna continue these books, but I'm gonna multitask this conversation.
Is there anything you're looking for in particular with the books you have acquired?
I'm looking for any. I remember what was her name. I always want to say Tanzia.
Tansy? You're close. Tansy, yeah.
I had asked Tansy to. No, it was Myrrh that had granted me access to the higher level, so I could find out the specific magic relating to Weha and the culture here. So that's what I'm looking for.
Okay. Last time, I forgot about that in the recap. Last time you guys did go to the restricted section, and you guys did learn a bit about the ceremony of apotheosis, the ritual that ascended a once very high archmage in the Circle of Twilight Flames into the Matron of Ravens. And you also learned a bit about how a lonely adventurer stumbled upon this city and made a wish with a djinn to make shelter here for other travelers, and a city was brought up. And so a contract was kind of made with djinn from a nearby portal to where they would help power the city. They never quite made it to the same technological or not technological, I could say. They're technologically advanced. They're very well known for their artificers and tinkerers and things like that, but they were nowhere near as arcanely advanced as the city of Vastamule was at its peak before its destruction, and the same as the city of Mirandaras. Mirandaras is kind of I would say out of the three, Mirandaras was the one that was kind of considered. The best way to put it is kind of like King's Standing in Game of Thrones, where it's like, oh, this is the unbreachable city. No one will ever conquer it. No one will ever breach its walls. Along those lines. Obviously, it's not the same geography and topography as King's Landing, but that's the first you know what I mean.
I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting.
Yeah, so out of the three, Mirandaras was the most arcane advanced, whereas Weiha itself so relied on the power of the Jinn. So like there are some pretty high, powerful spellcasters in the city of Weiha, but more so itself, that most of them do rely on the power that the Jinn provides in the spell engines that they have stored. You know what I mean?
Cool. Is there anything I can get to learn about some of these specific spell engines? And also, you mentioned the ascension of the Raven Queen, and I'm not going to just ignore that. So, is that what I'm understanding? Is that that I stumbled upon a book that told me about that process?
It didn't tell you the entire. It doesn't have everything written down about. It's more so a log of the events that took place. It is actually, it's not even a book. Well, there's a couple things about it, but the main source of a lot of information about it is known as. That's the wrong password. I hate when my OneNote closes. It was known as. It's called the Ravenstone. It was one of the. It's an old. Oh boy, so we're just gonna redo this entire last episode then. So there was a large map in the of the Scorching Sands in the middle of the restricted section of the restricted section, and it was a modern day map that had certain places marked out and marked with circles and things like that. And in one spot there's a question mark in one of the bottom corners, and there's a map kind of below it on like a placard about maybe like, I don't know, a little bit above your like waist height, comes up to your midsection, I would say your torso, and it had a map of what the region looked like 1,000 years ago before the fall of Mirandaras and Vastamule and the rise of Igor the Dark Lord. And a lot of the places match up with old where you guys deducted that they were sites archaeology missions and things like that, and recovery missions of old artifacts and things like that. And there's a part in the map that was marked with a big question mark where they thought there was supposed to be, if they matched it up with the old maps, there was supposed to be a section of city there. But all they found was the Ravenstone. And it talked about, I'll just reread what I told you last time. The tablet is, first off, you probably would have known this last session, but it was carved in ancient Zemnian, which with comprehend languages, and actually, I was looking at your spell sheet one day, you don't even need to use comprehend languages. You have an ability as